Wekesa Were.
Remain standing as the council members are coming to award you licenses. Council members.
To award you a certificate level license to practice as a nutritionist and dietitian technician as per Nutritionists and Dietitians Act 18, 2007 and KNDI regulations.
Thank you. From the health perspective and dealing with human beings, it would be necessary that we commit as professionals to ensure that we take oath to deliver to the Kenyan people and also those that are not within the Kenyan borders. And so we are going to go through the oath, and Madam Chief Guest will play the role of the oath, and as she also does play the role of the Chief Guest representing His Excellency the Governor.
Then we'll invite you all to put your right hand up. Then we are going to read. I'll read out the statement and pause, and you kindly repeat. Are we together? Thank you very much. So here we go. Each one of you have said your name. Yes. Pledge to do my utmost best for my patients and clients in the practice of nutrition and dietetics. I will embrace the highest standards of the nutrition and dietetics profession and pledge to conduct myself accordingly in all my professional interactions.
I will embrace the highest standards of the nutrition and dietetics profession and pledge to conduct myself accordingly in all my professional interactions.
I will use my skills to care for all humanity in need without bias and with openness of spirit, integrity, and transparency.
I will use my skills to care for all humanity in need without bias and with openness of spirit, integrity, and transparency.
I will seek to improve my knowledge through continuing professional development and teach what I have learned to all who need my services.
I will seek to improve my knowledge through continuing professional development and teach what I have learned to all who need my services.
I will acknowledge with humility my limitations and consult my seniors as and when the need arises. I will respect all under my service as individuals without regard to gender, race, national origin, religion, or sexual orientation, or any other forms of gender discrimination.
I will respect all under my service as individuals without regard to gender, race, national origin, religion, or sexual orientation, or any other forms of gender discrimination.
I solemnly promise to keep confidential any information relating to my patients and clients which shall come my way in the course of duty.
I solemnly promise to keep confidential any information relating to my patients and clients which shall come my way in the course of duty.
I will uphold the KNDI Code of Ethics and Conduct as per the Nutritionists and Dietitians Act number 18 of 2007 and subsequent amendments.
I will uphold the KNDI Code of Ethics and Conduct as per the Nutrition
I will demonstrate exemplary respect for the rule of law.
I will demonstrate exemplary respect for the rule of law.
I will place the needs of all those under my services above my own.
I will place the needs of all those under my services above my own.
To uphold these responsibilities, I promise to maintain my own well-being and the well-being of those under my service.
To uphold these responsibilities, I promise to maintain my own well-being and the well-being of those under my service.
I promise to be a trustworthy nutrition and dietetics professional who will practice with excellency, integrity, and devotion to all under my service.
I promise to be a trustworthy nutrition and dietetics professional who will practice with excellence, integrity, and devotion to all under my service.
I commit myself to a life that will bring honor to my profession.
I commit myself to a life that will bring honor to my profession.
So help me God.
So help me God.
That is the climax of our ceremony. Remember, we said you are the institute, and the institute is you. I want that to sink into your thinking and your imagination, because the institute was created for us, courtesy of Professor Julia when she was in Parliament. This was not there before, and we want to really acknowledge that fact that we could not be in this gathering. Alongside the oath, you were given a booklet which is written Code of Conduct and Ethics. One of the things that has not happened to those nutritionists in the practice is that they have never seen this document. And those who have seen it have ignored it, including top officials in the government. This is a code of ethics governing the practice and the profession. And it is drawn by the council based on the law and its content. At the end of the code of ethics, we have a loose sheet which gives you an individual declaration as an officer who is going to serve the nation. You are supposed to sign this document and leave it with us at the Secretariat. It will be collected as you collect your license. This document is binding and indicates that you have read and you have recited the professional oath. And so any malpractice that is not within the professional conduct will be bound by the signature or what you have put under your fingers. So kindly ensure that before you leave, we remain with that loose sheet, and also collect your license and registration certificate together. Madam Chief Guest, we have come to the end of the professional component of this ceremony. I want to appreciate everybody, but before that, we as the council and management, and of course, courtesy of some of the professionals, based on demand, we realized that this institute has grown at a very high rate. We now have a total of 2,000 approximately 100 fully licensed professionals. And no one will say that we do not have nutritionists, that our jobs can be taken by the nurses. No one would say that we do not have nutritionists, that our jobs can be taken by quacks, including fake companies. And therefore, I would appeal to the fraternity of nutrition that we have to defend the act. We have to defend the practice. We have to defend this without fear or favor. You have the knowledge, and therefore you must work together with other cadres to deliver. based on that oath. But it is good to award those who have shown integrity and their academic excellence, and also those who have shown us that they can change the lives of this country through their practice. And I would invite Madam Chief Guest to allow us, and the Council to allow us, to present those awards at this moment. So I have the honor to present the best candidate for clinical nutritionist, and the name is Mr. Mbuthia Jane Wangari. Gift voucher of 5,000 shillings. She can buy anything she wants. In the category of clinical dietetics, we also had the best candidate who emerged based on the clinical practice during internship and also final written examination. The name is Lutomia Kundu.
Tumpigie makofi mpaka afike. Twende tu. Congratulations Lutomia. Makofi factorial 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
The gift is a gift voucher for Christmas at 5,000. The category of public health nutritionists, these are those in the academy at Agenga in Busia. They have gone to the farthest part of Kenya, but that is also Kenya. And therefore, one of the candidates emerged as the best in this practice. And that is Mr. Charles Gitau Wairim, public health nutritionist.
Ululations in appreciation.
Madam Chief Guest, we have community nutritionists. Remember, we talk about the micro level, the mother, the children, and of course the chief's barazas. These are the people who push the agenda from the bottom. They are very critical. We also had the best candidate, and this was Margaret Kamau. I would request Mr. Wabale to come and I'll give this award.
Congratulations, Margaret.
Also had produced one of the best performed student, intern, and the best performed was Nyandoro Hiram Aminga. I would request Mr. Agri Oriama, Head of Public Health Council, to come and give the award.
Agri, move close. Congratulations. Factorial 1, 2, 3. Congratulations, Agri.
I've just been reminded that the clinical nutritionist has come, and she would request that she picks her gift in public. So can Jane Wangari Mbuthia come and collect?
Let's celebrate Jane in a bigger way. Moja, ile ya Nyayo. 1, 2, 3. Asante. Congratulations, Jane.
We have had candidates that have demonstrated solidarity right all the way when they were in campus before they graduated. Some of these candidates were with us during the public forums in Machakos, sometimes back in 2014. They have continued to be part of the congregations like this every time we have them. And the leader of this will receive the award as most dedicated candidate and professional. This is Mbae Umodo Kenya. Our chief guest, kindly come and give this award to Kenya.
Congratulations, Kenya.
The last one in the category of our professionals is an emerging leader. This is one who came and told the CEO that if my communication does not appear in the licensing document, then I am not a nutritionist. Because if you have taught me advocacy, as a competency, and I have learned the advocacy, and therefore I'm advocating for my name to be there to advocate for nutritionists, and therefore you must allow me to come in. And when I allowed him, this boy decided to give me more than the number of words required to be in a booklet. And I said, you have to reduce it. So use your English to make sure that we have a short version of what you have. And if it is done, we shall include it. The most dedicated and emerging leader, also pushing to be in our conference, even though he has not engaged in any form of formal research. This is Mr. Moses Amram Kutwa.
Moses Kutwa is here finally. Congratulations, Moses.
It's okay with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, but before we end this, I want to move to the next category of awards. This is for those who have pushed the agenda of nutrition since the enactment of this law in 2007, and finally when the council came into being in 2010 February. Madam Chief Guest, these awards were meant to be given by His Excellency, the Governor. In absentia, you will play the role to give these awards so that the Institute may recognize those efforts. The first to come for the award is Professor Gichohi Edward Karuri. When I was still in Maseno University in 2012, Professor Edward Karuri came with what we call a one-page document, and that one-page document invited a number of us to come and see what the one-page document was talking about. At that particular time, there was nothing that KNDI had to execute its activities. So Professor came up with a one-page to define what we call the minimum core curricular guideline. And during that time, we decided to argue out on what is best to train a nutritionist. And so he was the originator of the minimum core curriculum, and then he pushed the agenda that the minimum core would come up. Later on, he developed what we call 11 standards that we are using to inspect training institutions in Kenya, both from the degree to certificate. Professor Karuri is a professor of food engineering, and he also participated in the formulation of this law by proxy as a technical expertise.
This was one of our dreams, that you'll be seated receiving the awards at levels that determine what activities, what level of employment, and so on. It was not easy. Nutrition has been very elusive. It's only Professor Julia Ojiambo who actually understands this. I want to say that she was the very first to determine the course of nutrition in this place. So even as people talk about Edward Karuri, I'm a child of Professor Julia Ojiambo. She is the one who invited me to meetings which developed into what we are seeing now. I could not even understand when she talked about an act of parliament. That was not my area. I actually told her I was a food engineer. It's today that I regret the answers I gave. I did not know that we are all working for nutrition and dietetics, even as we live. And anybody who does not think so should actually just walk out and leave before we conclude. It is important that even as we celebrate all that we are doing, it's teamwork. KNDI has come up with people who are so determined. The CEO who talks about me, I can also talk about him. When I invited him, it's because I knew he had some content. And for sure, you can see how far he has come. So this is important that we can learn from some of us. In fact, culminating at the moment when you declare by that oath that you have sworn into, that you listen, you practice, you actually obey the laws, not only laws of the country, but laws of nutrition and dietetics. Thank you very much.
We can only say a small thank you, and that small thank you is embodied in this plaque and a small voucher. I'm not disclosing what is in there. He'll tell us. And on your behalf, and behalf of the council and the management of Kenya Institute of Nutritionists and Dietitians, I have the honor to present this honor to Professor Karuri. Thank you.
Asante. Congratulations, Professor Karuri. Asante. Asante.
Thank you so much, Chief Guest. There is one lady that KNDI must recognize. Sometimes back, she was the chief nutritionist at Kenyatta Hospital, and one of the things that she said is that she had the vision, just like Prof had, to come up with an institute. It did not come to being because of the mechanisms that did not exist. Later on, as the institute grew, we had a registrar who was executing the activities of registration. And in 2015, the registrar decided to stop her activities with KNDI. After that, this lady came up and said, why not? Because she was in the registration committee, she took up the role of registration and pushed the agenda of that area until this year, 31st March. We want to recognize her. This lady is in charge of registration SOPs, and that is Dr. Joyce Meme. Kindly, Dr. Joyce Meme, move forward to receive your award and say something.
I want to really appreciate KNDI. I have learned a lot. Prof, of course, has been my mentor. I'm proud of you. David, you have taught me a lot. And I'm sure we'll continue to promote the Institute and nutrition. Thank you very much.
We equally honor her with the plaque, and the more of her presence with us that is going to remain and continue to remain with us. As you come, you will continue to see her. And as a gift voucher. That role of 6,000 members that we are talking about today has been constructed by her. We didn't have a register, and it has not been easy to get all of you properly documented and listed so that you can now go and see your own profile at KNDI. Thank you, Dr. Meme.
When we honor people, we honor them because of the efforts they made. This lady, when KNDI had no chair, not even a stool, and there was no money even to pay for an office space. This lady, she was working as one of the regional marketing officer for Nest company. She participated in the development of this law. And she gave KNDI the first check to bring white chairs. Those white chairs, I found them in KNDI in 2014, where KNDI chair was sitting together with the few staff, and we had plastic chairs with plastic tables. which came from Nesu company because of Madam Penina Ndombi Wambu. This lady is now in the US and we will award her in absentia. I would request Madam Technical Manager to come and receive the award as on behalf of Ndombi as part of the Secretariat.
We award Madam Penina Ndombi Wambu in absentia. We want also to recognize the role she played even before she became a chair of one of the committees and was able to notice that we didn't even have a stool to sit on. She, together with the Professor Karuri and the lady standing here, Ruth, helped us a lot in the drafting of the law. Penina brought us a cup of tea and some powdered milk from Nestle because we had nothing for break, while Ruth carried the files around for us. We want to appreciate her very much, and that contribution that has now ended into us having chairs and the KNDI, somebody had to start, and she started us off. Thank you, and pass fond greetings to her. She also receives a plaque and a token envelope.
When the first meeting that informed training institutions to develop one single core curricular guideline was called in at Fairview Hotel to roll out the core curricula, it found when a whole team of nutritionists, both from the service delivery and training institutions, had argued out what